Okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone to our afternoon session. The theme of this session is reintegration of former gang members into society. And we're tremendously honored to have Pastor Nelson Mols and Rosa Margarita Anaya with us. So I'll introduce each of them. I'll introduce each of them briefly. Pastor Mols has served as pastor of Ebenezer Church in the area of Dina, El Salvador for 22 years, and with his team has visited the jail at San Francisco La Gotera, where most of the 1,700 inmates are followers of Christ. And once the inmates are released, they are welcomed into his ministry and the church, which serves as a refuge, a home where they are able to continue learning about God's word. Pastor Mols and his team also run a small bakery outside the church that helps cover some of the financial costs of the ministry. He has become a father figure for many ex-gang members, and his ministry, Huellas de Esperanza, houses 17 ex-gang members that are serving God in the community of Dina. And Rosa Anaya is a human rights activist and peace-building advocate, working with Catholic Relief Services through the Second Chances program. And over the last 20 years, Rosa has been dedicated to working in communities where children and youth have been impacted by violence. Working in many situations with lack of opportunities has led some young people to criminal activities. Her commitment to nonviolence has led her to work with an emphasis on peaceful means for youth in conflict with the law or engaged in violence. Okay. So Pastor Mols will begin first.
Muy buenas tardes. Queremos primeramente agradecer, ¿verdad?, por la oportunidad de estar entre ustedes.
He wants to thank the opportunity to be today with you all.
Y poderles contar nuestra experiencia
And to be able to tell their experience
de pastorear una iglesia en zona de conflicto.
as a pastor in a church located in a war zone or a zone of conflict.
Quisiéramos comenzar con un video.
We would like to start with a video.
Dice su palabra honrando al Padre, al Hijo, y bajo la unción de su Espíritu Santo dice, entonces Jesús fue llevado.
We are not the typical Christian. We have done a lot of things, bad things.
A diario se podría decir de que son ordocemas que se están saliendo de la fila de las pandillas buscando el camino, el correcto, ¿verdad?, que es los brazos del Señor.
Para nosotros siguen siendo pandilleros.
The hundreds of men you see here enthusiastically praying in prison were once part of the brutal street gang MS-13 in El Salvador. Spearheaded by a burgeoning evangelical movement in the country, they have all converted to Christianity.
En este caso nosotros estamos en un penal, pero en el caso de salir de aquí del penal hacia afuera hay muchas tentaciones, pero sabemos de que nosotros somos hijos de Dios y de que mejor si podemos ayudarle vamos a ayudar. ¿Por qué? Porque ya el cambio ya lo hizo Dios.
For those caught up in the cycle of El Salvador's vicious gang wars, the church is the only way out.
Pues el ser humano me ha dado 71 años. 9. Estuve 25 años activo desde 1990. Yo al verme en un espejo, yo nunca creí que podía cambiar, habiendo servido a esas actividades del mal, a esa vengan, a esa pandilla. He visto infinidad de caídos, jóvenes, niños muriendo de 14, 15 años por no obedecer a un pandillero.
Christians receive much better treatment than active gang members in prison. It is one of the many reasons it is easy to convert inside.
Que hoy de verdad estoy agradecido con Dios porque yo siento que estuviera enterrado en el penal de máxima seguridad.
¿Por qué? Porque sabemos de que el hombre nos podemos esconder, pero del ojo de Dios nadie se puede esconder.
Gloria a Dios. El Salvador's decades-long battle with gangs has its origins in the civil war that tore the country apart in the 1980s. Hundreds of thousands of Salvadorans fled, with many ending up in Los Angeles and settling in poor neighborhoods. Targeted by Black and Mexican gangs, Salvadoran refugees formed their own, giving rise to MS-13 and their rivals, 18th Street. Stricter immigration laws passed in the U.S. in the 1990s saw hundreds of these gang members deported back to a country still recovering from the Civil War. The gangs took advantage of a power vacuum, and as they grew, so did El Salvador's murder rate, to the highest in the world. The gangs have wreaked havoc across the country, controlling massive extortion rackets and killing anyone who gets in their way. Members of MS-13's rival, the 18th Street Gang, have also turned to God to escape gang life and seek forgiveness. Some former gang members have sought refuge in the Ebenezer Church, where they operate a bakery to survive.
Right now I have 11 guys living here. All of them ex-gang members. ¿Están viendo? Pelota.
¿Quién está jugando?
Este es uno de los cuartos donde los hermanos conviven. Es quizás como el único cuarto donde hay un poquito de espacio, donde ellos pueden dormir y tener sus cosas, como puedes ver, ¿verdad? No es mucho, pero pues tratamos de hacer lo mejor de ello, ¿verdad? This is like a temporary housing. They come over here, they get strength, they eat, they get little clothes, and if they have the family, then they leave, you know, they start their life, you know, just like a helping place, you know. If they have no family, they have no economy, no one to help them, then they could stay. And that's the reason why these 11 guys are over here.
The program is the brainchild of Wilfredo Gomez. Gomez joined 18th Street in Los Angeles and spent time in prison before being deported. Locked up in El Salvador for armed robbery, he found God in prison after surviving tuberculosis.
When I first got out, like, I didn't have a place to go. The director and the guards, they're telling me there's someone here waiting for you. They're here to pick you up. So I come out the door, I see them, they telling me they were sent by a church. Next time you know, when I got here, they had a meal. Here comes pastor, and he was like, we heard what God is doing in there. We're here to help you. And I was like, whoa, I never had a family. I never had nobody waiting for me, you know, when I got out of prison. Not even in the States. And over here, people that didn't even know me, they were waiting for me. The way they received me inspired me. It gave me strength to continue on the right path. So that lesson right there, you know, gave me an idea, and I was like, why not do the same with others? ¿Qué pasó, pues? ¿Cómo estamos? ¿Todo bien? ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo le fue?
On this day, Juan has just arrived, freshly released from prison after serving time on a host of charges, including murder and extortion.
Pasa adelante, vamos.
Yo creo en el Señor. Sé que no es fácil porque que nosotros encontremos trabajo bien difícil porque piensan de que nosotros tenemos las mismas mañas que antes en algún tiempo las obtuvimos.
Aquí es donde tú ejerces el área que va a ser asignada para dormir, aquí en este ministerio.
¿Y como cuántas personas tienen ya?
Somos 11 personas ya, de las cuales este es el área donde dormimos en cada una de las colchonetas y pues es lo que tenemos.
¿Cómo sientes?
Agradecido con Dios y en victoria, como siempre, como le digo. Siempre agradecido, siempre con el Señor.
Vamos en esta hora a darle la bienvenida a un joven
That night, Juan is welcomed to the program during a church service.
A pocos días, ¿verdad?
We are not the typical Christian. Over here, you have people that done a lot of things, bad things. So in order for us to have a control or a secureness, we got to make sure that these people is really Christian. And how we do that? By having rules based on the Bible. Like over here, you're not allowed to do no crime. If I find out that you're doing something illegal, you're getting out of here. Such as what? Robbing, if you're smoking cigarettes or doing drugs, that'll get you out of here.
Though there are programs in prison, the government provides little to no help once these men are released. Despite the lack of resources, Wilfredo is hopeful.
For me, this is what worked. When I first became Christian, it was only about what, 90 of us? 70 of us, probably less. Now it's over 1,500 ex-gang members worshiping God in prison. A whole prison number of Christians. Something's happening. Something's really happening, you know.
For him, the church is the only way to bring peace to El Salvador's long-running gang wars.
I used to hate it. I used to think about destroying them, dropping a bomb on them, like Hiroshima. But now, all I want to is preach to them and tell them Jesus loves them. I dream one day having an area, a building, a house, where I could house both of them, where I could have a man and 18 together, worshiping the Lord, without any restrictions, without any fear in their hearts, and build their faith.
Bueno, tengo 22 años de pastorear esta iglesia.
He has been 22 years in this church.
Vi el nacimiento de las pandillas en nuestra comunidad.
He saw the emergence of the gangs in the community.
El 23 de julio del 2003 recibimos una visita especial de Elías en nuestra comunidad.
On 2003, June 23rd, they received a special visit in their community.
Ese día militarizaron la colonia, francotiradores, helicópteros, soldados por todos lados. La colonia estaba tomada por los militares.
That day, the neighborhood became militarized. The policemen and the military force with tanks, with everything, came to the area.
La visita era del señor presidente de la República, Francisco Flores,
The
que
visit,
llegó a lanzar su primer plan mano dura en El Salvador.
the visit was exactly the president of the country, by then, Francisco Flores, who decided to start the plan Mano Dura there. Yeah, there.
Ese día se hablaron muchas cosas, se dijo que la fiesta se acabó para las pandillas y que venía un tiempo diferente para combatirlas hasta exterminarlas.
That day they said many things. They talk about changing times, that they were going to start a new beginning, and that the party was over.
Los que estamos en esa comunidad, lo que vimos después fue más pandilleros llegando de otras zonas para apoyar la pandilla local de la colonia Dina.
So what they experienced, the ones living there, after that announcement was even worse, because other gangs came to the area to support the local gang against this plan.
La fiesta, como dijeron, no se acabó, sino que continuó y continúa todavía.
So the party didn't stop there. On the contrary, it started, it continued, and it haven't been stopped yet. So it's still running.
Hemos visto morir muchísimos jóvenes cayendo afuera de nuestra iglesia, en las calles, enfrentamientos con la pandilla contraria, la MS, que la tenemos justo al lado.
They have experienced and they have seen young people dying there just front of the church. They have seen fights between the two enemies or rival gangs because they are kind of in the middle between both gangs, the MS-13 and the Barrio 18.
Estudié 6 años en una universidad de teología y ninguno de todos los textos aprendidos podía aplicar en ese territorio.
He studied 6 years theology at the university, and any of those books studied were able to be applied there in that context.
Pasamos muchos años asustados igual que toda la gente.
So there were many years that they were afraid as the rest of the people in that neighborhood.
Pero me cansé
But he got tired
de ver cómo la pandilla controlaba en su totalidad esa comunidad y todas las comunidades vecinas.
He got tired of seeing the gangs controlling everything.
Y la iglesia metida en una cápsula.
And the church encapsulated.
Yo dije, tengo que salir a la calle yo también.
So he thought, I have to go to the street too.
La iglesia debe tomar su posición e ir al territorio también.
The church has to take its place in the territory.
Comencé a darme cuenta que muchos jóvenes que están en la pandilla
I started to realize that many youngsters that are part of the gangs,
querían salir de ella.
they wanted to leave actually the gangs.
Muchos en las cárceles se convirtieron a Dios.
Many of them in jail converted to God.
Abrigaban la fe,
They embraced faith.
pero afuera
But outside,
las iglesias
the churches,
no quieren tenerlo entre sus miembros.
they didn't want to have them as members.
Yo abrí la iglesia,
So he opened the church.
hice un hogar,
He made it as a home for them.
hacemos micronegocio para ellos,
So they make micro business with them.
panadería como ustedes vieron ahí.
Bakery, as you saw in the video.
Y yo dije, todo el mundo me va a aplaudir.
And he thought everybody will clap because of this.
2017,
2017,
8 veces
8 times,
fue intervenido el templo por la policía.
8 times the police came to the temple.
2018, la misma historia.
2018, the same story.
2018 nos mataron 5 jóvenes.
2018, 5 youngsters were killed.
Este año ya asesinaron al primero.
This year, they have assassinated already one. The first one.
Amenazas continuamente.
They are threatened continuously.
Tiene que sacar a esos jóvenes de su iglesia.
They tell him that he has to take out those youngsters from the church.
La policía, el ejército,
The police and the military force,
con las últimas medidas,
with the last plans,
asociaciones ilícitas,
illicit associations,
actos de terrorismo,
terrorist acts,
es licencia para hacer lo que quieren
is the permission to do whatever they want.
e irrespetar el trabajo mismo de la iglesia.
Yeah, and not to respect even the work of the church.
Cuando me dijeron que me detuviera y lo sacaran,
When they told me to expel those youngsters,
mi respuesta fue,
his answer was,
ni el Estado, ni nadie le puede decir a la iglesia que deje de hacer su trabajo pastoral en su comunidad.
not even the state can say to a church what to do in the pastoral work in their community.
No hacemos acepción de personas.
So they don't discriminate people.
Ellos son los leprosos de este siglo.
Lepers. Okay, they are the lepers of the
Ellos son los
time.
endemoniados gadarenos. Que
They
estaban
are,
en los cementerios desnudos y con cadenas.
they are the devils of the cemeteries that were with the change.
Ellos son también la mujer pecadora que estaba lista para morir apedreada por haber sido encontrada en el acto de pecado.
They are the sinner woman that was ready to be stoned.
Ellos representan a aquel hombre que estaba junto al madero con Jesús.
They represent that man that was
Un
with
delincuente
Jesus,
famoso de su época.
a famous criminal of that time,
Que le dijo a Jesús,
that said to
acuérdate de
Jesus,
mí
remember
cuando
me.
vengas en tu reino.
That told Jesus, remember me when you come to the
Jesús le
kingdom.
dijo, hoy mismo estarás conmigo en el paraíso.
And Jesus answered, today you will be with me in the kingdom.
He estado escuchando mucho lo que Romero hizo.
He was listening very much what Oscar Romero did.
Y escuchaba como algunos decían cómo se necesita nuevamente ese mensaje.
And he was listening as well how many people were saying that we are needing that message again.
En El Salvador todos los religiosos se han hecho mudos.
In El Salvador, all the religious people are in silence.
Lo que se necesita es asumir el papel que le corresponde a la iglesia.
What we need is that the church recognize its role in the country.
Todavía nos siguen persiguiendo, nos siguen acosando, nos siguen reprimiendo.
We are still being persecuted.
Y yo decía, ¿y ahora qué podemos hacer? ¿Qué vamos a hacer?
And he keeps asking, what can we do now?
Me desligué de una asociación de iglesias a la que pertenecía.
So I left a church that I was in before,
Porque no compartían el trabajo que yo hago en la comunidad.
because they disagree with the work he was doing with the community.
Cuando todo parecía perdido,
When everything seemed to be lost,
llegó la prensa internacional.
the international media came.
Periódico El Faro,
El Faro newspapers,
Factum, CNN,
CNN,
Discovery Channel, ingleses, franceses,
English, French, people,
suecos,
Swedish people,
alemanes,
Germans.
a poner la cámara.
So they came to the church to start the camera.
Cuando estaba CNN allá dentro de la iglesia,
When CNN was there inside the church,
la policía estaba golpeando la puerta
the police was knocking the door.
y les abrimos con el mejor de los gustos.
And we opened it with I don't know, the best of the breeds, I don't know. Yeah.
Eso fue
With greed.
una gran sorpresa.
And it was a big surprise for them.
Ellos con los fusiles
They were with the
y los
weapons
periodistas con las cámaras.
and the journalists with the cameras.
Y yo en medio.
And he was in the middle.
Juan, la semana que hace 8 días,
And
suecos.
Swedish, 8 days ago.
Y qué bueno porque por primera vez quedó grabado.
And it was really good because for the first time it was recorded.
Policías sin uniforme,
Policemen without the uniform,
cubierto su rostro,
covering their faces
en vehículos particulares,
in
no oficiales.
private cars, non-official cars.
Juan estaba ahí con unos periodistas, yo no estaba ahí.
So Juan was there with some journalists.
Y ahora sí quedaron grabados.
And now this time they were recorded.
Tuvieron que decir, nosotros estamos de acuerdo con la reinserción.
So they had to say, we agree with this organization.
No estamos en contra.
We are not against it.
No estamos en contra de lo que aquí se está haciendo.
We are not against what they are doing here in this place.
Simplemente es una investigación rutinaria.
We are just checking it.
Dios bendiga a la prensa internacional.
God bless the international media.
3 veces nos han capturado a los jóvenes, se los llevan.
3 times they have captured the youngsters and they take them with them.
En una ocasión se los llevaron para exhibirlos en un parque público.
One time they took them to were exhibited in a public park
De rodillas, sin camisa.
on their knees without a shirt,
Exhibirlos
exhibited
ante la comunidad.
before the community.
Y son jóvenes que algunos tienen 3 años de estar perseverando y fuera del mundo de la delincuencia.
And they are youngsters that they have been already 3 years out of their gangs.
Tengo algunos que ya tienen 5 años de estar fuera.
There is one that has been 5 years of being out of the gang.
Todos los que tenemos ahí son salidos de la cárcel.
All the youngsters that are there are from the prisons, are coming from the
Ya
prison.
pagaron su falta
And they
ante el
already
Estado y la sociedad,
they already paid for their mistakes,
pero los siguen persiguiendo.
but they continue persecuting them.
En El Salvador
In El Salvador,
no hay reinserción.
there is no reinsertion,
No existe en la mentalidad
integration.
de los que dirigen la seguridad del país. No está dentro de su léxico.
It is not part of their language to reintegrate these
Quiero pasar unas
youngsters.
fotos. Corremos esas fotos.
He wants to show some pictures.
No tenemos mucho tiempo, vamos a cortar porque sigue nuestra amiga
We don't
Rosa.
have so much time.
Pero quiero que vean algo ahí.
He wants to show you this.
La pandilla misma ha aceptado que la única forma de salirse de ella es por el camino de Dios. Nosotros recibimos en la iglesia, enseñamos la palabra de Dios. Creemos que el Dios que tenemos es poderoso para cambiar.
We believe that the God we have is powerful to change, and the way we can
San Francisco Gotera, un penal.
Gotera is a prison.
1.700 aproximadamente han abandonado la pandilla. El año pasado, el gobierno tuvo que reconocer que hay un penal de personas retiradas.
Of people that have left.
Pintaron todas las paredes ese día
They painted all the walls there.
de un programa del Estado que se conoce como el Yo Cambio.
Name as Yo Cambio.
Yo fui invitado al evento.
He was invited.
Lo felicité por el Yo Cambio.
Congratulate them because of the plan.
Pero el Yo Cambio solo está dentro del penal.
But that plan is only inside that way.
Afuera lo que hay
Outside,
es persecución.
but what they have,
Esa es la triste historia de nuestro país.
that's the sad story of the country.
Pero seguimos la lucha
But we continue fighting
hasta poder provocar un cambio
to be able to generate or create a change.
y venga una verdadera ley de reinserción en nuestro país.
And if they really have a truly law of reintegration,
Despertar conciencia en la iglesia.
of the awareness in the church,
Dejar de estar cuidando el nombre
to stop taking care of their name or protecting their name
y tomar una posición para los más desprotegidos.
and really make a position
En las comunidades pobres
in the poor communities.
ponemos los muertos.
We the deaths.
Pero son comunidades olvidadas.
But they are forgotten communities.
La policía ingresa ahí
The police come there
como que todos fueran delincuentes.
as if everyone would be a criminal.
He visto muchos jóvenes activarse en la pandilla
Yes, many youngsters activated in the time
porque no soportan más
because they cannot stand.
que la policía ingrese solo a golpear
So they cannot stand anymore that the police come to kill them.
y intentar capturar
Try to capture
sin ninguna razón.
without any reason. Capture them without any reason.
Tuve una discusión muy fuerte con un policía fuera del templo.
Had a very hard discussion with a policeman outside the temple.
Y él me dijo esto, esta placa,
He told him that this space,
yo soy la autoridad,
I am the authority,
yo hago lo que yo quiera en esta calle.
and I do whatever I want.
No le diga, así estamos de mal en este país.
This is our situation.
Que personas como usted
People like you
no han entendido la función para la cual fueron nombrados.
haven't understood the mission of the role to be there.
Está enfrente de un templo,
To be front of a temple,
no está golpeando la pandilla,
not keeping the men,
golpea el trabajo
keep the work,
de una iglesia.
the church.
Que lo único que quiere
The only thing they want
es ser parte de la solución.
is to be part of the solution.
Dios los bendiga.
God bless you.
I'm debating because we've heard a lot of things in the past days. How do you use this thing? See? Down, no, no, there you go. Okay, eso es lo que dice. Funcionó. Okay. So I'm debating because, like I said before, it really hurts. So you have to feel it to understand what's happening. Just like you were talking before. Just like every one of the people who have been here have been talking about analyzing from the brain. We have to feed the brain. But this, what we do, comes from the heart. Many things I will say may sound disonantes with some of the things that we've heard before. So to do this, I'm going to ask you to stand up. And you see this square right here? Everybody needs to fit here on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you can do it. Come on. Yay. Can you do it? Come on. Everybody needs to fit in this square. Oh, come on. You're out of the cell. Oh. Almost. Almost. You're right now in one of the prisons in El Salvador. This is your life. You haven't taken a shower for months because you have no access to water. Do you feel the smell? Can you smell it? Are you uncomfortable with all these people in here? This is what you breathe, what you eat, how you sleep every night. And you're asking me to talk about peace building. In this context, I have a family to feed. I have the policeman that will come and kick my ass. When I get out of this place, my only choice is to kill or die. And there comes Rosita. Hello, everybody. How are you feeling today? So we're here to talk about peace building. I believe that you are the person that can change this country. And everybody's just looking at me like, uh-huh. This is one of the cells in Quetzaltepeque many years ago, before they started a program there that Pastor just mentioned, the Idol Cambio program. We had in 2011, 900% overcrowding. What you have in this cell right now, you got lujo, luxury in there. This is your life. You're not going anywhere, okay? Your sentence may be 300 years, but you really are just thinking, how am I going to die in this place? 39 people in my country right now are incarcerated. And this is the reality. Are you looking at yourself right here? Which one of those guys was you? There are two systems in my country. The one where we have the Yo Cambio program, the one where we don't believe that people can change. We tried, but there's two systems. I can cry about the fact that we're screwed, okay? After this 2 days of listening of all the facts, what Pastor Mos just told me, I could just sit down and cry because there is no chance of changing anything in those conditions. But I have this mania. I have a fault defect in my heart. I just don't give up. It's terrible because people get really angry with me sometimes. So we always think about the bad apple because people need fixing, especially if that bad apple looks like the worst thing on this planet. And we put them in jail. The one that you just saw, the cell that you're in right now. Because every single human being in this cell is descartable. You're not worth it. That's how you've been raised. That's how you live your life. We put them there and we relish on the fact that we've forgotten about all this bad people. We're never going to see their face again. And maybe let them rot all together. Maybe, like Juan and I were talking about this afternoon, maybe just echarle fuego a la prisión. Just light it up. Kill them all. While us good people are safe and sound. What will happen when little bad apple comes out of the prison? Because they will come out of the prison. Esa manzanita! That's how they call them in the prison when they're coming out. And you're out. And I don't know about you guys, but I have never seen anybody change by magic. Turned from going into and living in those conditions to little manzanita happy and verde. It just doesn't happen. We can still be thinking about, it is not my fault, it is not my responsibility, the family maybe, the society, whatever they're doing, it's someone else's problem. Or we can start thinking about, what's the society that we've created in order for these things to happen? And you and I are guilty by action or by omission of that action. I learned something this is a life learning for me in one of the prisons as I'm doing a workshop on history. The guy said to me, reinsertion? What the hell are you talking about? I was born out of this spectrum of society, what you call society. You know what? I do want to be part of society. I am willing to be part of society, but I am not willing to be part of this society that has created the right conditions for me to exist, for the worst part of me to exist. Now I will let you out of jail, and you may go back to your seats.
Thank you.
Yes. You have been released by amnesty, everybody. Ya todos se pudrieron todos. Ya pueden salir. Todas las manzanitas.
Vamos a denunciar por tratos inhumanos, crueles
y degradantes. Arnau, ¿verdad? So with that idea, what is it that we do as a program? We stop trying to think of people of the manzanita podrida and start thinking of the people as what they are, human beings capable of doing great evil. But oh my God, have I seen people do amazing things. Incredible things. Peggy. I see Peggy so many years ago. This house is falling apart. And she's like, there's going to be un conservatorio de violín. And this is going to be an art pintura for a gallery. And this is going to, I was like, Peggy, you are insane. And she is. But she made it happen. Because she wasn't thinking of people. We need to think about the society. We need to think about that society where we all can fit. So what do? We go to the police and talk about peace building. We talk to the guards about peace building. We talk to the inmates about peace building. We talk to the warden about peace building. We talk to the families about peace building. And then we leave. You know why? Because I am not the voice of the voiceless. That was Monsignor Romero. I need to give people back their own voice. I am not the expert. I'm going home. You got out of the cell right now, very quickly, by the way, just because I'm nice. That's their life. You don't get out of your life. You may change things in your life, but you are the good and the evil in yourself, and you must embrace that. Because none of us are exempt of someday committing a terrible crime. I can see that in you. I also can see in Sira the goodness in his heart. And oh my God, am I going to crush that heart until I get to that little piece of humanity? Because that's what we do. We have to, I do come from a violent, society, so I crush people's heart. I was going to tell you, this is the face that every single actor that I just told you looked at us like, peace building in the prison. Shut right. I am not going to go into because of time. This is the basic theory of what we do. We work inside. We work relationships. But then we need to work society. we don't do that, it's going to be great that I got to hug you, but tomorrow we would have killed all of the guys and we will see 20 other groups come out. Not gonna go into, this is the how we do it, each one of the curriculums that we use. And one of the questions was, so this, I always tell people that I work on rehabilitating people that have been in prison, but mainly I work on rehabilitating, ¿cómo se llaman pollos? Business people. I've succeeded on doing the rehabilitation for the guys and the gals in the prison. Do you think I've been able to get to the bottom of that human heart in a, ¿cómo se llama? Business. See, it's just hard because they are not willing to give that second chance. But I come with all my guys. I promise you they've changed. They got their, yellow shirt on. They've gone through the Yo Cambio program. They're peace builders. And yeah, right. How do you do that? How do you change the essence of evil in people? This is my team. 18 months we had to prove to the judges, to prove to the authorities, to prove to society, to prove, ¿cómo se llama? Thank you. Business people. That it worked, and this is what we get. I would love to tell you that we've had great success. Where's the evidence of what we've been able to do? Because people, in the end, that's what they want. So one thing we focused is to try to find the right language in which we can empaquetar. Package. All of that stuff that we've been talking about. And you see this. This is one of the graduations. And I know Rick is going to present another picture that I would love to describe for you, but this is inside of the Apanteos prison, which is the same prison that you saw in the video. And just by chance, some of the guys that you see, the guy that was actually talking a lot, I've known him since he was 14 years old. And he grew up he's from the Clica de Santa Tecla. So he's buddies with Sierra. And to see him there, he's part of one of the guys that you see there are the peace promoters that you cannot see here because we usually don't show faces. But to see how far along people can go, it is amazing. And their families are the best testimony of those changes. Peggy, you might know her.
She's from my area. My kid is one of them.
Yes. That is her son. He had Peggy. And I've seen Peggy done miracles. Okay? He's still in jail. That mother still has to go to jail to see her son. Not even Peggy was able to stop this from happening because it's so overwhelming what our youth have to go through and overcome that it takes 20 Peggies, 20,000 Peggies, and so many more to be able to shift. Prevention is what we need because the more trauma or the more traumatized you are, the harder it will get to be able to heal. So as I said, we talk to everybody, right? ¿Cómo está Dios y a su mamá? At some point, we had 100% labor reinsertion. Come on. Now, come on. You guys, 100%? Thank you. Yes, gracias. Hello. But I still need the, oh, can you do that? Oh. Yeah. One of our guys got out. One of our guys is working. That's 100%. Anybody can play with the numbers. Come on, little statistic here. We really need help there. The entire 21 prisons can change, like we've seen in Lopera. Even us here, preaching to the choir, will go out of here saying, oh my God, we need to do something, right? And I just, as I said, may be disonante, but this is not enough. This is not enough. Who do you think is going to hire one of those guys that right now is in one of those panaderías? But you see, here's the thing. I don't expect them to stay there. I don't expect, because I told you I had this little error desde el inicio. I just don't give up. So I'm waiting for each one of those guys to be the better self, because they can be whoever they want if they can dream it. If I can dream it, they can dream it. If you can dream it, it will come true. Even if the police is beating down your throat. I've seen it. I've witnessed that. As long as you believe. Those are families. And I'm not going into all of this because there's no time. But I want you to look at that picture. Breathe it. Feel it. You are that baby. And I would like you to look at your neighbor. Look at your neighbor. Whoever you got a la par de usted. Come on. Look at your neighbor. Ponete enfrente del otro. Can you please do enfrente del otro, please? Yes. Uno enfrente del otro. If there's three, that's fine. 3 people is fine. Oh, come on, look. You're just, right now, you're just listening to me. You're looking at your neighbors. And I want to summarize for you what it means to do justicia restauradora. Look at your neighbor. You're just listening to me. Look at them. Look at them. Acknowledge that human being that you have in front of you. Acknowledge the human rights activists that you have in front of you. Come on, you can do it. We're all human beings. We all got eyes. Yes. And I want you to picture that baby in your head. In your head. And I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to see their reaction to this question, because this is important. When we're talking about restorative justice, ask yourself, are you willing to go hug a killer? Are you willing to go hug your rapist? Are you willing to go hug the person that committed a massacre of your family? Are you willing to walk the walk? When we're talking about restorative justice and that human being that you have in front of you, we must be able to see the powerful good and the so much destructive evil, and still embrace it. And I mean literally embrace it. So we stand up. With that idea, give them a hug and say, thank you, human being, for being here. And you may sit down again. Let me bring you back to this kid, because what you see there is reality. This is how we play. This is how we continue to play when we want to be part of a family. How bad was your family that you decided that this was your option? Quit blaming the gangs. Blame ourselves for something that we haven't been able to give our kids for love, just as simple as that. Don't question them. Why do they become this? As a program, we're not here to tapar el sol con un dedo. Can you say that?
Block the sun with one finger.
Thank you. We're not here to deny that this is happening, because this is our reality. And it's rough. But we truly believe that things can change. And I've seen it happens. Maybe I cannot change this reality right now. Definitely not alone. So y'all, please, agarre su matata, because we need all of you. Maybe right now what we can offer people is an option. It's a choice between peace or violence. Truth is, everybody, they're coming home. They are coming home whether we like it or not. I hope that by the time they get there, they will have the tools to change their own reality, because I am not going to be next to that kid trying to save him from himself and his family. It is the family. It is the society. It's how we relate to each other that we need to change. This is Apanteo Prison, same prison that you saw in the video. It was incredible. You go in there, and it was this big church. I am not a religious person, by the way. I do work for a Catholic relief service. Don't hold that against me. But spirit is the thing that drives us to do incredible things. This is Sangre Center Prison, a prison where the peace builders that we've trained stopped a riot. I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. They had the tools to understand how to change the reality, and they did. It wasn't me in there. It was them. This is the prison guards. You think hugging your neighbor was hard? Ask the prison guards to hug the people they are guarding. And it makes a difference. In the end, there's Rick. You're laughing.
They're from
This is also the prison. Can you see? Right up in the top. But they changed their surroundings. They made it worth a different space. Will you hug the killer? Will you hug the rapist? because that's literally what we do. I'm standing here out of personal, as I told you, I had this little thing, I'm something screwed up in my brain or somewhere. I just won't give up. And I won't give up. I was 3 months old in my mom's womb. She was captured and tortured with electric shocks. That explains my personality. I was 4 years old. A bomb went off in the context of the war, and a driver, scared, ran over me. Lost an arm, but I got a lot of it. Every time somebody's tried to kill me for some reason, there's always a reason to come back to life. I'm a witness to my father's murder. I am a witness to the killing of my kid's dad by the gangs. I cannot tell you how hard it is to change reality. I am not a victim. I am a survivor. Not only that, I will hold you accountable for the society that we've created, because we will change it. Doesn't matter how many times they tried to kill me. And when they do succeed, whoever does, please tell them I forgive them. I will share with you a non-finished version that I sent to Lupe, I'm sorry, Lupe, of something that I wrote that I think summarizes a lot of the things that we're talking about today. I wrote a letter to the person who killed my father, telling them that the state denied me my right to reconciliation because of the amnesty law. Still, I forgive him. And what I do as a team, when I say I mean not only me, but all the people that work around me that are just so amazing, so amazing. We'll tell you that you cannot do this work unless you believe deep in your heart that the person who committed the most horrible crime is also capable in the same level or superior to do some good. And that's just not bullshit. It really has to come from your gut. So when I'm talking about forgiveness, have you seen this technique in Japan? When a plate or a vase breaks, they bring it back together. What's it called? They do it with gold. They put some sort of resin and they put gold and they make this beautiful. It's the same cup again, but it's got all of this golden pieces surrounding it. That's what we do with our hearts, because we are so desensitized of the violence we live that we are willing to say it's okay if it's the enemy, you can kill him. Would it make a difference if my story that I just told you, coming from me with a tattoo on my face, would it make a difference if that same story I told you had a uniform, a police uniform on it? It makes no difference. And we need to stop thinking of the other as the enemy. We need to start thinking of the people that need to come together to bring a solution. I'm telling you, it's not only me. I am holding you accountable for it. And now I can do it even with facts that my dear friend here told me all about it. You guys are responsible for the creation of MS-13. So this that I'm sharing will not read to you, but every year I make a reflection on around my father's anniversary of his assassination. He was a human rights worker, and he was assassinated on October 26th of 1987 in front of my house, which I still live in because I chose to stay there, where my kids have grown and where we've had to deal with a whole bunch of kids getting killed right outside of the house. But still, we're there. I want to close this space. Rick's thinking, what's she gonna do because you already did the hug, right? I want to close this space by trying to give you a gift, if you will. Think about the hardest person that you might think of. I cannot forget this person. Don't say it, I don't want to know. The enemies of it. My personal right now, so I can share with you, my PhD on forgiveness, if you will. I am trying to find in the bottom of my heart the humanity of Mr. Trump. Okay? And if I do, I will give him a hug. Is that hard or not? I can see your faces. But I'm willing to forgive the assassin of my father. I'm willing to do it not for him. And the guys in prison, when they have forgiven themselves for what they did, the next step is to hold them accountable, to ask for forgiveness for what they did to others. Not for them, also for themselves. And I'm done.
For questions. So the floor is open.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing your story. It was very, very moving for me, and it really triggered like a lot of emotion that I still feel right now. But that's okay because I gave man little holes right here, like little seconds, and I use them, so it's okay. But about forgiveness, I had my son taken away from me when he was 7 years old, and I didn't see him for 4.5 years, and I didn't know where he was, if he was alive or not. And I went through this whole thing of forgiveness, because in the Bible, we're taught to forgive and you shall be forgiven, and even have a number of 7 times 77. And so I was struggling with that. And I went to a meeting with parents that had their children abducted and dismembered, and they went to trial, and they were told, forgive the guy. The guy didn't care. The guy was insane. He didn't care. So one thing that I learned was to forgive myself for wishing that person that took my son would rot in hell. And I wish that. But I did get to see my son, thanks to the fire in paradise, because there was a fire in paradise. So my son was sent to me because of the fire in paradise. So I was just with my son. Anyway, that's another story. But I'm with my son. I have a relationship. My son's living with me. He's 16 years old. So I think the thing about forgiveness is I have to forgive myself if I'm not able to forgive the people that have done horrible things. And once I forgave myself, I didn't have any more tension with that person that did it. And I actually have a good relationship with the person. But another thing to consider that if somebody kills your relative or rapes your daughter or some horrible thing and can't forgive yourself for not forgiving, and you'll be okay with that. I don't know if that's okay. I just wanted to share that. I couldn't forgive, but but I forgave myself for not being able to do that. And maybe one day I will. You're inspiring me. You're actually inspiring me to get there. So I think I'm really going to consider that, to do that. Anyway, thank you.
I think we're now right at time in order to meet the next event. So please join me in thanking Pastor Moss.
It's a very hard act to follow, but I just have two announcements.